Hi, I'm Steve Adubato. We kick off the program with our longtime friend, Ira Robbins, CEO of Valley Bank. Good to see you, Ira.
Good to see you. Thank you for having me.
So many things to talk about. Ira, let's jump into this. You have told me in offline and on-air conversations we had, you've also been on our Lessons in Leadership program to talk about your view of leadership. But you have said that the relationship between customers and banks and businesses overall have changed forever. What does that mean?
I think this is one of the benefits, to be honest with you, when we think about COVID. And customers, employees really have the ability to re-engage and reestablish relationships, which from a banking perspective, as well as other businesses, really creates that value proposition. As we think about serving our customers and what that customer experience model should really look like, it's how do we think about interactions, experiences that can be digitized versus those that should be person-to-person relationships. And I think that's the evolution that many companies are going down. We're really migrating down that path. And I think it's a benefit to both the customer and the company as well as we think about what are those high-touch experiences that we want to make sure we focus on.
So it's so interesting. One of the things I know about Valley, because I've been leading a leadership academy, a Valley Leadership Academy, coaching around management, communication, and leadership at Valley for several years now. And so much of the focus in my leadership work is around the ability to interpersonally connect with other people. Easier said than done. Ira, is it harder for particularly younger people, from your view, who would get recruited into the bank? Recruiting good people is hard enough as it is, to engage interpersonally because they're so obsessed with this?
Yeah, I think, they lose the value of what a relationship is. And, it's our responsibility, just like we teach them about many things from a development perspective, personal career growth. Part of it is teaching about the value of a relationship. But one of the things we can do is make sure we focus on the right types of experiences that should be a relationship and understand that they're probably correct in many instances about certain types of interactions that should be digitized. And how do we make sure that we focus on digitizing the right ones and enhancing the experiences on the relationship components across the...
Ira, give me an example. I'm sorry for interrupting. Give me an example of something that definitely automation, technology, digitized communication, that's the way it goes. But in another case, you've got to be at least on the phone, if not face to face.
Yeah, I think, look, when you're looking to solve a problem or a bigger solution for someone, those are relationship type of conversations that people should have. And we do many things across our organization when it comes to balance transfers, when it comes to balance inquiries, changing addresses. These are experiences that really should be digitized, and we're wasting individuals' times, and candidly, we're probably creating a bad customer experience by looking to put these into a relationship type of model.
So, okay, so it's a balancing act. And it's interesting, I have not heard a corporate executive say that there's been a significant benefit from COVID in a long time. But the pivoting, the adapting, but also I know for Valley and for other banks, and I'm not saying this because Valley is one of our partners and we work with them, but a lot of banks have done this, but expanding your portfolio of services around payroll protect, PPP. That was a big deal. That wasn't part of the portfolio 4 years ago, 3 years ago, correct?
Not at all. I mean, that specific product definitely wasn't, but the concept of providing innovative solutions for our customers was something we always attempted to really do. But if you think about the PPP component, right, how much of that really was digitized versus how much needed to be a relationship? And if you look through the process and work stream of what that looked like, initially it was a relationship. How do you have a conversation with a customer to really understand what's important to him or her, what opportunities they have based on the new legislation and guidance that came out? But then what are the components of that process that could be digitized using DocuSign, using the ability to fund an account? And it was important for us to make sure that we were clear with our customers how to get an efficiency and an experience that was appropriate for them from a digitization perspective. It was just as important to make sure that we listened to them in the beginning, right? God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. And when you think about that component of how we connect with our customers, making sure we listen is critical to the right types of conversations. And that's important for us to really look through the customer experience and really begin to identify what are those high touch points that we want our customers and our employees to really be connected on from a relationship perspective. So the onus is really on us, Steve.
And I want to make it clear that the Caucus Educational Corporation was a recipient of one of those loans/grants from the federal government, the PPP initiative, and we understood how complex that was. But all right, let me try this. the future, a huge question, not just the future of banking, but the future of technology and banking, changed forever and moving forward at a rapid pace.
I was sitting there talking to our employees. We did a town hall the other day, and we were talking about just what's changed in the banking landscape. I mean, when I first started in banking, there was 12, 13,000 banks, charter banks across the entire country. Today, we're down to 5, 6,000 charter banks. And you could look at the industry and say it's an industry that's contracting. Really, it's not a real growth industry. But when you expand the horizon and look at it, there's more fintechs that have come into the industry today. And fintechs provide, traditional banking experiences, payments, delivery solutions.
Ira, sorry for interrupting. Define a fintech.
So yeah, it's a financial technology organization focused on investing and changing components of banking, right? So when you think about how you think about the payment verticals that we have across our organization, some of these different fintech companies have now come in and looked at just that component of it and tried to enhance and modernize what that traditionally looks like, and many types of payment verticals as well. So when you look at the fintechs that have now come into the industry, when you expand the horizon, this is the golden age of banking from my perspective, Steve. The
golden age, Ira?
Golden age. You have more capital flowing into the banking industry than we've ever had before. You have more talent flowing into the banking industry, people that want to work in the banking industry. So when we think about the value proposition and what opportunities we have as an organization, it's not just to change what the interaction looks like with our customers, but our industry is changing dramatically. And that is a blessing from my perspective. When I look at it as a CEO, how do we think about strategy, vision very differently than what we looked about before? And we have opportunity to really grasp that. We have opportunity to bring people into our organization that would have never, ever imagined coming into the banking space today. And when you bring wonderful people into the banking space, the creativity, the excitement that comes from that's amazing. And we're seeing real focus on ability to iterate and to change what the value proposition is of a bank today versus what it was 2-3 years ago. And Steve, I believe, honestly, the iteration is going to accelerate at an exponential pace that we have no ability to really comprehend. And how do we think about continuing to iterate as we move forward? Change in organizational structure, change in workflow. These are amazing opportunities from my mind that you would have never associated with the traditional bank before.
Ira, you took over as the leader of the bank at what age?
42.
One of the youngest CEOs around, not just in the state and the region, but the nation. And I should also disclose that Ira was a coaching client of mine many years ago. He was not the CEO. He was in the finance arena, and I got to know him very well. And we look forward to continuing to have important conversations about not just banking and the relationship between customers and their banks, but the impact of technology, but without losing the interpersonal side of this. Ira, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Steve. I really appreciate the time.
You got it. That's Ira. I'm Steve. We'll be right back.
Think Tank with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation. Funding has been provided by the Turrell Fund, supporting Reimagine Childcare, New Jersey Sharing Network, Holy Name, the New Jersey Education Association, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, the Russell Berry Foundation, Johnson & Johnson, the Fidelco Group, and by Caldwell University. Promotional support provided by Meadowlands Chamber and by ROINJ.
Data shows that many patients have avoided seeking critical health care in the wake of COVID-19 for fear of contracting the virus. Delaying medical care can have serious consequences, so you should never second guess or ignore your symptoms. At Holy Name Medical Center, we have measures in place to prevent infectious disease from spreading. We're clean, we're open, and we're safe for all your healthcare needs.